When is the right time to change the strings on your bowed string instrument? Actually, the most asked questions in all my comments is about the strings. Today we go into this interesting subject. Stay tuned and you will learn everything about it. Hello back again. This is Edgar from Cremona, Italy, and I do nothing else than building violins. And now the surprising thing is about strings. I earn almost nothing. Okay, you wouldn't believe lots of people are asking me about this subject. I'm not a music store. I could become a music store, but I don't want to become a music store. I'm a craftsman person. I love to be at the working bench. I have to admit that the last 2 months I was busy with moving the workshop to a new location, so I didn't work that much, and now I'm glad that everything is ready and I finally can make dust and chips and planing and carving and cutting and create something. This is something I love. Well, we also created now this new rack for our instruments and everything, but building instruments is my mission. And the final part of an instrument is actually that you can play it, and without strings you can't play any instrument. So you have to pull up strings. Now let's see all the way back then when Edgar, little Edgar with 17 years, came to Cremona and built his first instrument. I somewhere have it even, yeah, I don't know where, but there is somewhere my first violin. I'm not very proud about it because it didn't really turn out that well. But anyhow, and then I had to pull up strings, and I just remember that I was impressed that all my schoolmates around me, a lot of people, they have always chosen the cheapest strings. And then there were some German friends of mine, they even made then a string business and things like this. They were choosing already very picky the strings. So there was one part searching for, at that time, olive, a gut string with silver around, super expensive strings, which they sold in thin, small tubes in different diameters and things like this. And others who bought the cheapest strings which you could find on the market. I think it was an Italian string, I don't remember the name. So guess what? With which string the instrument sounded better? Who took more care about the sound? We all know already that with a more expensive string, the instrument will sound definitely better. Before we go too close or closer into this subject, we have a little bit to divide the people, the public, for this kind of questions. On one side, we have the beginners. For beginners, let's make things as easy as possible. Play your instrument as much as you want. If you can see that the string is slightly damaged on the bridge or on the upper nut, then it's time to change the string. The biggest group is the intermediate group, which is already able to play, and they're already breathing this nice music they were dreaming of the day before they started to play violin. Finally, they made it. They did a lot of lessons and a lot of exercise. And now they're finally the ones who can focus on its sound. And this is the widest group of people playing an instrument and playing the violin, the viola, the cello, and double bass. These groups are the ones which are, let's say, the best customers for string makers. Because having on a specific string, whatever the lousiest you could find, let's say, and grading up to something a little bit more expensive, because of course a very expensive string will sound better, otherwise there wouldn't be a reason that it is more expensive, there was more research and whatever. So then they see, oh, it sounds better. And then somebody else says, you know, with this string it sounds like this, and with that sound it's like this. So they discover the great world of changing strings, and you can adjust the sound. And then they jump from one string to another. In the beginning they just use one set of strings, and then slowly they only put the G string from this company and from that one and to that one. And it becomes like a drug. You know, you get addicted by that, because you can see that something is changing, and it's not only that one single string is changing, but also the other ones around. If you change one string from one company to another, if you put on the Kaplan E string and the rest you leave Eva Pirazzi, and then you slowly grade up to a different string, Canone or whatever, you know, it's getting immense, and every instrument is reacting different. And then you get some research and feedbacks from your colleagues, and this one plays this and this like that. And then you have some idols and you want to become like this, so you also use those strings, and I don't know this string, and then there comes out a new string. Oh, then you have to try it out. And of course, a new string is always something you, in the first moment, you think it is much better. This group is usually the group which is spending a lot of money into strings, but actually didn't count on the fact that maybe the instrument needs to be sound adjusted. And a lot of this effort of jumping from one expense to another, because small sums up and becomes a big amount, within a sudden you have spent 500 or 1000 or even more on that, and a sound adjustment would be much more affordable. So this group, I just would say, calm down a little bit. And yes, of course, you might have to change the strings earlier than before the string shows you a damage in some areas such as the bridge or the upper saddle. But to be more precise, actually the string should not break in these two spots if everything is made correct. So again, you should actually go to a violin maker and say, hey, could you fix me that, because my string is always breaking here. And if the violin maker doesn't want to listen, then probably you have to change the violin maker, not the string. Yeah, of course. If you play the violin a few hours a day from time to time, we all have washed hands since COVID and all that. But still, there remains always, every time you touch the instrument, even if you don't play it and you just touch it, a little bit of something of your fingers on the windings, on the strings. And in order to have the best performance quality of the strings, whatever you have, I suggest to invest in a string cleaner set. You will immediately hear how it sounds better. On a violin, even underneath there is some dirt off the string, and you have to get that away. And then in this area there's some rosin, and if you take it away, then the bow is even working better. The string becomes lighter because it's without all this dirt. And then we have, of course, the final group, the professional musicians. I'm not the one who has to tell to a professional musician when they have to change the string. Usually they know already. They choose the strings especially just for the sound, the comfort of playing, how they feel comfortable, and they have to live with this string for hours and hours every day. And then they have this sound idea that this specific string should make. And once this specific flair or character of that string is gone, they're ready, and they know, okay, another 1 week or 2 weeks, 10 days, 3 days pass by, and they change the string. One thing is having a comfortable car for long trips, or you can have the sports car for the track, but you won't be very satisfied if you have to make a long trip, right? And with the strings, it's a little bit the same thing. If you just focus on a specific performance which lasts for 1 or 2 hours, the New Year's concert or whatever, then of course you are willing to put on a string which you know already lasts only for a few days, and other strings maybe you leave on for a longer time because you know they just last for very long. But I've never met professional musicians who leave their strings for years on the violin. I never met that. They're usually happy when they can change the string, and they love to change it because then they feel more that it is how it should be. They feel it as their sound. Said all that, you would say, now there's nothing to add, and you were expecting that I give you some companies, some specific strings which you can pull up on your instrument. I don't want it. The strings we are using are strings which are generally known, which I think sound good. But that doesn't mean that this instrument is made for that specific string, okay? Of course, change to something, or if you want it in a specific way, the sound, of course, and the way of how it is feeling can be combined, and we can together find the right string for you. After all, it's the instrument, the constellation of the bridge and the sound post, together with the strings, how it is pulled up, which determines its character and playability and these things. And the violin maker should be able to adjust the sound in a way that with all strings, it sounds great. And then if you don't have a violin maker, then you get into that big trap for most musicians that you need to change strings in order that you change something of the sound. I hope you got the message. It's a little bit more complicated, but much simpler than you actually imagine. The thing is, you just need to go to a violin maker who has the time and the desire to help you. I'm here always for you, but I'm just here in Cremona, so you need to travel most of the times because Cremona is a small town and most of my customers come from outside here. But I'm always happy to welcome you in my workshop and we can together sound adjust your instrument to its best. To get this kind of content, you have to subscribe to this channel. You can give me with your hype button a few hypes, and so that will help the entire channel and this video. And it's a new feature on YouTube, but you definitely should use it. Don't be stingy. Thanks for hugging me in this channel. See you at the next video. Ciao, ciao.